Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is 𝗵𝗁𝗀𝗀𝗀 here, and today we are going to set up an IRL home-based streaming server. So if you IRL stream on Twitch, this could work for YouTube because NOALBS, I believe, now support YouTube, but the focus is going to be on Twitch alone. So check out the details for NOALBS if you want to do YouTube, but anyways, we are going to set up an SRT server, a secure reliable transport. Then we're going to use a modified script that will add on to the SRT, and this will be our server here, and we are going to be using the NOALBS. So what NOALBS does is it'll allow you to run the commands, it'll allow you to switch, it'll start OBS, exclamation point start, stop. If you have crappy broadband or even cellular connection and sending from your mobile device, or if you're using a live view, if they now support SRT or whatever streaming device you're trying to send from, and it's not getting good coverage, then it's going to automatically switch to a different scene, and it'll be on your BRB scene on OBS, and it's going to wait for an incoming connection. And once the connection is good enough again, then it'll switch back towards the live scene on OBS, and you can resume of what you're doing, and your audience will be happy. So this video can be a little bit lengthy. I'm not sure how lengthy it's going to be, but we're going to do this in each different sections. I have commands written out. These are not final yet. I'm still working on setting each and every command as we process through the video, so check in the link in the description for all the commands. We are using a Ubuntu server. You could set up yourself a VM by going to VirtualBox and downloading Ubuntu. That's going to be in a separate video, or just simply go to YouTube. There's plenty of it of how to set up a Ubuntu server. It can be a desktop mode or it can be a desktop environment where you see a GUI interface such as this, but in most cases, to save up on resources, it's going to be in headless mode, meaning that there is no desktop environment, and we're going to be running it straight from the terminal. So let's go ahead and begin with downloading SRT and configuring it. Well, first we got to set up these commands. So we're going to pretend that we are not in a desktop environment, and my Ubuntu IP address is 192.168.1.163, and I found out by typing IPA, so IP space A. So yours will say different. Take note of that. I'm going to go ahead and launch a terminal here from my Windows machine, and here on Windows, if we just zoom in a bit, type in SSH, then the name that your username on your Ubuntu, which mine is Ubuntu, then 192.168.1, then I already forgot the IP, it is 163, so 0.163, then it's going to try to tunnel that. It'll say refuse, and if it says refuse, then this is what you need to do on Ubuntu. So what we want to do is, it's either a firewall issue. So what I want to do is type in sudo _i, then we're going to go ahead and type in the password. The password is Ubuntu. I just want to keep it simple for the sake of this video. UFW allow port 22/TCP, then even UDP, but it's going to be under a TCP protocol. So now we should be able to tunnel into that. If that's not the case, then we probably need to install, well, it says connection refused, so it's either it has or it does not have SSH. So I'm going to type in apt install SSH _y. So now we're installing the SSH server, so now we can run it from the terminal here on our Windows machine. Now that it's done installing, we can go ahead and type the command again, and we should be able, yep, there we go. Just go ahead and type in yes, type in the password, and boom, we are in. So now I can go ahead and just minimize this and have the main focus on the terminal here. I'll just go ahead and just keep these minimized. This I will definitely need. So we want to run as root, and it's going to be sudo -i or -i, then type in your password, and now we are as root. So our command is going to be, we're going to update it, then we're going to upgrade it, then we're going to install these packages. We should do that at the very beginning of the video, actually, and we want to run as root. This could take some time as you proceed along with the video because it's going to update things and download things. So you're going to have to be very patient. All right, now it's going to actually, let's not even, no, let's go ahead and upgrade first. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Y. I'm going to pause the video and come back once it's done. So once everything's all updated, you want to type in this command. Now I was having problems of typing, of having this entire command executed. And if you have the same problem, then type in these command individually. We're gonna go with it. I can't say it right now. So after that's all complete, what we want to do is copy this link, and you can get it from this website right here. And we're gonna type in get clone, then the link. Then it's going to create a folder, and it's going to have all these files in it. So if we type in ls, we can now see that this folder has now been created and downloaded. So if we type in ls again, you'll see all the files here. Next command is going to be cd SRT, so you can go into it. Then we're going to type in /configure, and now it's going to perform its thing. And since it's done, we're going to go ahead and type in make, M-A-K. And this could take some time, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it. So now that it's all been compiled, type in ls, and it created this binary, or this executable, I should say, even though it doesn't have a .exe because that's for Windows. If it shows green, it's a binary, or it's something of importance. This is a shell, just for an example. What we want to do next is type in cd .. so we can go back into our root folder. And what we want to do is you can now visit this website, but we're going to go ahead and just type in get clone and get that source. And now if we type in ls, you can see that it created SRT-Live-Server, and that's what we want to go into. So go ahead and type in cd SRT-Live-Server. Oh, I did not want to copy that. All right, so now that we're in there, we want to type in this next command. And if it gives you problems, which I got it from the Docker itself, so I typed in that command. If that does not want to work, then just go ahead and just type in /configure. So we're going to go ahead and just delete all of this. Hello? That's the first thing that we need to type. Hold on. So I'm just following up on this Docker file that's on the SLS, the server page, the SRT-Live-Server, and I'm just dissecting it. So I made a little bit of a mix-up, but what we need to do is type in make -j then 8. So let me fix that. And okay, so this is what the problem I was having with last night on a different Ubuntu server. And since I went into and we want to cd into SRT and ls, this is where I typed in this command because it was referring to. So I was thinking maybe it was now referring to SRT-Live-Server. We're going to go ahead and compile that again. So even though that we already compiled it, let's go ahead and compile it again. Then we're going to go into the SRT -live-server. So cd // then cd SRT. Now we should be able to type in that command again. And if not, then it's going to be make, oops, no caps, make J8. And now we don't have that, those errors popping up, which is kind of funky. But yeah, if you run into that problem, that's how I did it. And it says build successful, so problem solved. Let me update this real quick. So after you compile it, so just type in that command again when you go back into the SRT folder. My apologies. And yeah, that should all look good now. All right. Okay, so if we type in ls, a bin folder has been created. I'm going to go ahead and type in bin, cd bin, then ls. Then this is the executable that we will be running. We don't want to run it quite yet because we need to configure the SLS.config folder or .conf folder. So we're going to type in cd / ls, and you will see the SLS.conf folder. What we want to do is make a backup of the original, and I have a modified script here for you guys that will work out wonders. So what we want to do is move, then the config, and it's going to rename it as SLS.back, short for backup. If it wants to paste, okay, it's not, it doesn't want to paste in. Then SLS.back. So now it's been renamed as .back, and we want to create the SLS config.conf. I should stop saying config.conf. And I will give you this script. It will be pasted in the link in the description. So let me break it down to you. You want to open up port 8081, and you want to open up port 8082. Now, this is very important. So if you were to change this here, and you can change it to whatever you want, so your Twitch channel or some type of password, it kind of acts like a password, but this is really important for you. I'm going to keep it as 𝗵𝗶 because I kind of stole this script from the 𝗵𝗶 script. And if you want to have multiple SRT instances, so if you have two phones that are using the Larks broadcaster to send towards the SLS server, then you can go ahead and just type uncomment these out. And make sure that these two ports right here are not conflicting with each other. So you can have 80, since this is 8282, I'm going to have it 8283. And you just need to make sure you port forward. So Pogo, when I do my Pokemon Go stream, but that's if you want to add multiple instances. If you have like a third phone, then you can go ahead and just copy this right here and put that right there and give it number 4, then just change it, your key right here. So phone number 3, for example. And if you don't want that, then just copy this bracket down here and don't worry about the rest. So we're going to go ahead and just copy this single thing right here. And we're going to go ahead and right click, and you're going to hit Control O and hit enter and hit Control Z and T to exit out of it. It used to be Control Z, but now since it's been saved and there's the file that we created, what we can do is go back into the bin folder, which will be cd bin. So we're going to go ahead and type in cd bin, and now we can run this command, which will execute that file, and it will copy the config file that we created into the root directory that or the SRT-Live-Server directory. So we're gonna go ahead and copy that, paste it in. Error while loading shared libraries, something something, cannot open shared file objects. And let me come back. It's so many damn errors with this. You gotta love that. All right, so I figured out the issue. What you need to do is run this command right here. Then it will get the libraries that it's pulling from for its correct path. So the correct path would be /user/local/lib, and it's trying to pull the file from from this one, I believe. But once you type in that command, you're fine and you're good to go. And then we can go ahead and type in this command. I quickly made a modification because when I run that command, it gave me an error, and on it had B in it, like a capital B, so I kind of messed up on a mistypo, but everything's all correct now, so everything will be correct after this video is done. So let's go ahead and run this next command. Oop. I don't get like Control-C, Control-V, or right-click. There we go. So now when we run the command, it's now working. The problem is, if I were to hit Control-C to exit out of it and try to run it again, if you do it so many times, you'll get this error, which you're going to eventually have to reboot your system. Because it's already like a process is already being, like, since it's already used as a process, I couldn't find the PID to kill it or the process. So my alternative was just to reboot the thing if you ever exit out of here. Once we get everything finalized, you don't want to run multiple terminals just to run the server. Whenever you boot up your server, you just want everything just to automate. And so once we get our NOALBS, which is going to be the next thing that we're going to be working on after we get the firewall set up, and the NOALB, once we get that all set up, then we're going to automate this. So every time when your computer boots up, it will run the servers, and then you can just stream on the go, and you don't have to worry about opening up multiple terminals singly. So let's go ahead and work on the next commands now. We want to allow these ports in our Ubuntu. So we're adding it, allowing the firewall to acknowledge that these ports are okay. And we also need to make sure that we did the SSH, so UDP, and it's going to be 2222, and we did that earlier. So make sure that you run these commands as well. All right. So the next thing is going to be Nginx OBS automatic low bit rate switching, or NOALBS. Actually, before we go into NOALBS, I just want to say that error that we were having, if you have any problems, I had to Google it, and it just gave you the proper documentations if you've run into the same problem, so the links will be in the description. Now let's go ahead and start messing with NOALBS. So you're going to visit the website, and we're going to grab the entire source, not the source, the executable. So once you are on that, you know, you hit the green button, and you can get that with the get clone by copying this link. And where is it? Actually, no, I lied. Because it'll download the entire source. However, the developer has already made a binary, an executable out of it. So if we were to look for this right here, NOALBS unknown Linux blah blah blah, which you're going to type in wget, then the entire link right there. And what we need to do is go back into our root directory. And so now there is SRT, SLS folder, And now we're going to go ahead and type in the wget command. And it's going to take a moment. So now we need to extract that by typing in tar tac xf, then the name of it. And if we type in ls, you can see it's been extracted. So what we can do is go ahead and remove that long ass file name by typing rm-rf. Be careful when you type in the command, because that will force remove it. And what I want to do is rename this just as NOALBS by typing mv. Then just NOALBS. And so now it's just easier. Okay, so we can go ahead and go into the NOALBS, and we need to modify the config.json, and there's multiple ways that you can do that. You can do it with the existing config file or config.json and make settings this way. However, I like to do things a little bit differently. So I want to, this is personally me. We want to get rid of it. I'm going to download an older version, and the older version is not using the Rust language. It's using the Node.js language. So if we were to go back into our root directory, and we were to type in, this is not in the correct order. That's in the correct order, should be. We're gonna go ahead and type in wget. And so basically, I'm downloading like a really old version of it. So if we were to go back towards the page and go to releases, and you just go scroll all the way down and go to like the next page, version 1.90. The reason why I'm doing this is we can grab the older config and we can modify the old config file into that and move the config file into the updated version, and it'll automatically generate the config file for us. So so it's right here. I copy that, type it unzip ls, and here is the file folder. We're gonna rename it to NOALBS -old ls. So here's the old version. So we type in cd NOALBS -old, and type in ls. We will see the listing, which will be, okay, so there's the config.json. So if we go ahead, type in pico config.json, it's a little bit different. And this is more, to me, a little bit more simplified than the other version, but to each their own. So on the, to make modifications, wherever you're hosting this, wherever your OBS is, which is going to be on my other computer, it's not all going to be on the same computer. So whatever your computer you are on, and let's just say you are running OBS on there, this is my Windows now. And if I type in ipconfig, scroll up, and I am 192.168.105. I'm going to go ahead and copy that because that's where the OBS is at. And right click and leave the port 4444 and the password that you'll set up with your OBS. And I'll show you how to do all this here shortly. We're going to put the password as password. And as for your normal scene, you're going to call it live. So whenever you select live, that's where you're broadcasting your IRL streams. And if you're offline, you can leave it on BRB. As for low bitrate detected, I mean, it'll automatically switch to the OBS scene because you're having a crappy cellular connection, or you can just rename it as low bitrate and leave this as is, because if your stream is having problems, you or a moderator on your Twitch channel can type in !refresh or !R, and it'll work out just fine. We're going to leave this as is because we're going to make modifications to that here in a bit. Your channel name is going to be your channel on your Twitch. Then your bot Twitch name is going to be, well, mine's going to be 𝗏𝗳𝗃𝗀𝗀. Then you're gonna get your OAuth token, and to get that, you need to visit this website. Where is it? Right here, twitchapps.com/TMI. So once you go to that website, it's gonna have you connect your Twitch bot account, and it's gonna spit out an OAuth key, and you're gonna put in that entire OAuth key right here. You're gonna remove this and just replace it right there. I'll do that after I make modifications. So as for your admin users, this is where you want to type in you and your moderators who you trust. Even though that you added them as a moderator on your Twitch chat, and you want them to specifically use this tool, you need to make sure that you add them. It's not just giving someone mod in chat. You need to actually add their username. So 𝗏𝗳𝗃𝗀𝗀, I mean, you don't have to put your own bot if you don't want to. I'm just doing this as examples. If you want to add more users, just go ahead and hit a comma, space, then 2 quotes, then go back in between those quotes and just, you know, username here. And as when you're done adding the usernames, do not add a comma afterwards. Just that's it. You're gonna hit Control-O to save it, and you're gonna hit Control-X to exit out of it. Now what we're gonna do is move our config file .json to our normal updated NOALBS folder. So we're gonna go ahead and type in the path, and if we get out of this directory and go into our NOALBS folder, type in ls, you will see that our file is now moved in right here, and all the modifications that we've changed to it. So hit Control-X. So here's a interesting thing and very important. If you type in 𝗶𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀, nothing has been created. So as soon as you run /NOALBS to execute it, it's going to give us some errors because I didn't give it an OAuth, the proper key, and it's waiting for OBS, and I need to set that up. But since, let's just say, for example, it's not running, and it saw the old version, and it already converted it into its newer version. So if we hit Control-C or Control-Z, type in ls, and type in 𝗶𝗀.config.json, now the entire thing has been updated. We need to modify this section here real quick. But what I want to show you is, if we type in 𝗶𝗀.env, and even though if you type in ls, it doesn't show it there because it's invisible. But if you type in 𝗶𝗀.env, it's right here. They took out a snippet and they placed it right here. So if you ever need to change your bot, it'll be right there now. So just change your bot username and your OAuth key, which we will do that once I pause the video and make modifications. What we need to do next is go back towards our NOALBS, go back to the main page, and since we're using SLS or SRT-Live-Server, it should pop. Okay, right here. So this is where we need to make the modification. So everything's on localhost, or it could be 127.0.0.1. So, and we need to change this. So since our SLS config, if we go back to it, oops, and go towards our SLS folder and go to the SLS config, you'll see that this is different than this. So we are going to change a couple of things. So let me go back towards our Nginx config. Config.json, or excuse me, I said Nginx, but I meant config.json. Sorry. We're going to scroll down, and it might be referring to this section, but let me view the entire configuration. Okay, so it is talking about that block. Where is it? So when it what we want to do is copy this, and we can go ahead and just get rid of from this line to that. And now paste it in. Oh, well, I mean, have things on over. So we need to modify this line here. So I brought up another terminal, and we want to copy this. So this is your stream key, right? And so it's going to be live because we're getting it from the domain publisher. So it's going to be /live, then /stream /𝗵𝗶𝗁𝗏, or whatever you have it typed out as. So we're going to go within those quotes, live / stream, then /𝗵𝗁𝗏. So whatever you named this as or typed it out as is going to be live /stream /𝗵𝗁𝗏. Then once you have everything configured, go ahead and hit Control O, and it's going to write it. Hit Control X, and I'm going to make modifications to my 𝗵.env. So I'll actually give it the OAuth. I just don't want you guys to have my OAuth key. Then we're going to run it. All right, now we're going to go ahead and set up our OBS, and hopefully you have it installed. And what we need to do is click on this link, and it will be the OBS WebSocket. So remote control OBS Studios from the WebSockets. Then you're going to look for, go to download. Then you're going to scroll down, and you're going to click on the Windows installer.exe. And what you want to do is you're going to close out of your OBS. We're going to quickly install that. And so now, let me pop up OBS. And so this will pop up. It says, it looks like you're running OBS WebSocket for the first time. Do you want to configure a password for your WebSocket server, and setting a password is highly recommended? We're going to hit yes. And this is the password that you put into the NOALBS config.json. So if we were to bring this terminal here, and let me zoom in a bit more, pico config.json, the password that we put into the old one is going to be right here. So we typed it password as password, or the password is password. So hit Control X, and we'll come back to this terminal here in a second. So the password is password. Where is it? Right here. And so now it's set. Now we need to make multiple scenes. I actually need to go back towards the... Hello? Did I screw it up? Where'd it go? Ah, crap. Hold on. All right. So the scenes that we want to create and that we have listed right here is live and low bit rate. Low bit rate. And BRB. So I'm going to quickly just this is where you're going to get creative with your scenes. So in BRB mode, you know, just have like a BRB text or like some random funny clips that you may have. Just, you know. So this is the offline clip just in case, or the scene that it will switch to. If your mobile stream or whatever cuts out, then OBS will automatically, NOALBS will automatically switch the OBS scene. This scene right here, you can just copy these two. Basically, it'll switch to low bitrate, and when you have a crappy connection, everything will look pixelated. So, matter of fact, what I want to do is I want to remove that, and here's why. Once you add in your stream and decorate this how you want it, you're gonna need VLC player to download. So let me go ahead and download VLC. So we have our VLC installed, and make sure that you, when you click the orange button, click the drop down and install the 64-bit version. That's highly important. Let me just zoom in. Drop down menu, 64-bit version right there. So once you have that installed, open it first, the VLC, then close out of it, then close out of OBS. If you have it open, then reopen OBS. Then you will be able to see VLC video source, and you can put that into your live scene. Give it a name. I'm just going to leave it as is. And what we want to do is let me zoom in a bit. We want to grab this URL. It's going to be SRT:// the IP address of your Ubuntu server, then colon, then the port, which is 8282, then /live/stream/BellaBox, or whatever you named it as. So we're going to go ahead and copy that, and we're going to hit the plus button and add path URL. And we're going to add that a couple more times. And make sure you hit shuffle playlist. And you're going to hit OK. So the reason why I added it the total of 3 times, when it goes into BRB mode and it tries to go back into live and reconnects itself, it will select out of one of these playlists, so it will actually refresh itself. So we are not done quite yet. We need to run the SLS server and the NOALBS script. Then I'm going to do a test from my phone. Then it'll show up here, and I'll show you how to set it up on your phone, whether it's going to be on Android or if it's going to be on your iPhone. So let's go ahead and run the SLS first. So CD server live SRT-Live-Server, then bin, then it's going to be /SLS space.c /SLS.config or conf, and now it's waiting. You already see a whole bunch of data is being sent through. That's because this is requesting it. If I were to move into BRB mode, it's no longer sending a crap ton of data, or at least it shouldn't. Well, if I close out of it, then it'll definitely not have keep asking for that connection. So it kind of froze on me. It might happen to you, so you might have to restart it because it's requesting that live feed. So we're gonna go ahead and reopen it. Launch anyways. We might have to reset the computer, or because since it was running previously and it didn't close out properly, it already has a different instance that it's running, and it's occupying the web socket, which is kind of a pain in the ass. So let's go ahead and close out of OBS from our task manager first, then reopen it, which will be OBS. Where's the O's? Do I know my ABCs? I do not. So not responding. I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. So sometimes it will let me close out of it. Sometimes it will not, which is, you know, kind of a little bit of a deal breaker. So, okay, so it still has that saved. I'll just keep that minimized. And so now that's running. What we want to do is run our NOALBS script. cd NOALBS, then /NOALBS, then hit enter. And now everything is all up and running. So if I were to run a test stream from my phone, it should pop up here in a second. It's sending data. Did I type it in correctly? We can also do a little bit of a test from our VLC player directly by opening up the network stream and copy that URL right here. Where did VLC go? And now it crashed because for whatever reason. Let's go ahead and run it again. And see, this is what I was talking about earlier. Whenever you run it, it doesn't want to run after you run it initially. So this is what you're going to have to do is reset the Ubuntu. So let's go ahead and do that. Then we'll test it all over again. All right, so I have it up and running. I'm just going to point the camera at the ground, even though that it's a black screen. Here are my feet. I know it's kind of ugly, so I can hear myself. I'm just going to turn that down. So it's working. When I first initially tested it kind of crashed it. So you can leave it as just one single path instead of having two, because it's like tripling the connection, or it's the handshake, and it's overwhelming the SLS server. So one should be fine. And once you get everything all set up, what you can do on your live scene, that is. So once you here's BRB, then we'll go back to live. Then it will pick up that the feed again. So there's the feed. So once you get your live live scene all organized and done, what you can do is duplicate it and call it low bit rate. So it's basically the exact same thing as the live, but when it's switched to low bit rate, it's just be a little bit more pixelated. That's what I do. If you are running a 720p stream from your device, when you first set it up, it'll be something like this, of that size. And what you can do is right click on your VLC source. Then you're going to go to transform. Where is it? Am I blind? Okay, transform right there. Then you're going to click on fit to screen. So even though that you may be streaming from OBS to Twitch in 1080p, but from your phone it'll be 720, at least it'll be stretched out like that. And like when you edit things on the fly, and if you did not made that transform modification, it will oversize or overlaps. It'll overlaps like that, if that makes sense. So do it that way. Let me go ahead and show you how to set that up on your Android or iOS phone. It's called Larks, and the process is the same on both phones. So yeah. Go to your Google Play Store or your iOS App Store and download Larks Broadcaster. There is also Larks Screencaster, and both of the apps, even though that they're different, the settings are still the same. So the Screencaster is if you want to record your or stream your screen on your phone, like if you were doing Pokemon Go or if you were doing like a COD mobile game, you can do that on the Larks Screencaster. So once you get Larks installed, open up the app. Then it will look like this. So you want to hit the settings icon, go to connections, go to new connections, give it a name. So mine's going to be on my local network. I'm just going to say it's local. Then I'm going to go ahead and type in SRT // the IP of my Ubuntu server and the port 8282. Then you're going to scroll down. Then you're going to see stream ID, which is going to be /stream, or excuse me, stream/live/𝗶𝗶𝗁𝗁, or it's live/stream. We'll find out here in a second. Then you're going to hit the check mark. So now, once that's check marked, it'll recognize it. It'll be sending out towards that connection. So what I want to do is test real quick, just in case. Okay, so it was stream/live/𝗶𝗶𝗁𝗁, or your stream key after the /live. I want to make some more modifications on my Android phone. So if you go to video, you can have it in a 1920 by 1080, so that means it's a 1080p stream, or whatever resolution you want or your phone can handle. Good luck of getting the highest resolution and having that much bandwidth to carry out. As for FPS, I leave mine at system default. Even though that this phone can record in 60 FPS, it should have that function, but it'll default to 30 FPS. Then you want live rotation on, so if you were to put your phone in portrait mode, it'll go in portrait mode, or if you want in landscape mode, it'll flip the landscape. You want to toggle keep streaming when not in focus, meaning if you were to not exit out of the app, but if you go to a different app just to check your Gmail, for example, and be careful if you use Streamcaster, it will show everything on your screen, but on the broadcaster it won't. So if you were to go into a different app to check in something real quick, then it'll keep streaming, but in broadcaster it will not display your screen. And this will only work on Android specifically and not an iPhone, unfortunately. With Android, it's more lenient of what they have, more open source, I guess. And you can also turn off your screen to save battery from the display, draining out your battery, and it'll still stream. Scroll down a bit more, and this is where you're gonna make some bit more modifications. So it says bitrate matches resolution, and I just leave that toggled. If you want to change your bitrate, you can. And since you're running a 1080p stream, most people, if they were to use RTMP, which is an older streaming protocol, it's at 6,000. So if you want to use the SRT, I suggest 3,000, but just leave it as bitrate matches resolution, then you'll be fine. Your keyframes to 2,
Your format, use HEVC if that's an option. If you have a Android or a Samsung device, then you should turn on optical image stabilization. So if your phone is a little bit shaky, it will stabilize that so it doesn't look all bad on the viewer's end. And adaptive bitrate streaming. You're going to select the mode for SRT. Once you touch that, hit hybrid, and what it will do is if it starts having a bad bit rate, it will try to stabilize the bit rate, and so it'll have like a continuous okay stream, if that makes sense. That's and as for audio, match it with your OBS. Since the new latest releases of OBS, it's 4800. So make sure you check out your OBS audio tab and put it at 4800. And as for the bitrate audio, I just leave it at 160. That's fine. And you can add overlays if you truly wanted to. And you can hit new layer, then look for say a .png image, and you can mess that around in the overlay, but I don't use that. That's what OBS is for. And that's how you set up your Larix broadcaster. And just all you gotta do is hit the record button and flop your screen landscape mode, and it'll do that. You can also toggle. You can flip cameras on the fly as well. I don't want to show my ugly face, but it's the button on the left middle screen. But yeah, you can also mute. There's a mute button. You can also take a capture, like if you want to take a picture, you can take a picture and it'll save it. So, and once that popped up, that means my Ubuntu crashed. That's because it's running on a VM machine, and I don't have much RAM and cores allocated towards my VM. So we're probably gonna have to reset that again. And yeah, let's hop back on the desktop.
All right, now that we're back on the desktop, I'm going to make a modification towards my config.json file in NOALBS folder. I'm going to simulate as if we're streaming. So if we change this to false, it will switch between scenes as if it was live streaming. So I wouldn't recommend doing this, but I just want to simulate that I'm live streaming from OBS without actually live streaming. So once I change that to false, I'm going to go ahead and run the NOALBS. And okay, so it's waiting for SLS to start, and we're going to go ahead and run that. And so as you see, since I'm not streaming from my phone, it's not picking up that feed, or the connection has dropped. Once I go live, it's now going to switch into the live mode, and it crashed again. It crashed. So I definitely don't recommend running this on a VM, unless if you can give it, some good resources. I gave it 4 cores and 8 gigs of RAM. Let's give it some more RAM and some more cores. See if that will do the trick. But let me go ahead and reboot that again. But if everything was working properly, and I'm still streaming from my phone, and it will change it from BRB and go to live automatically. Since there's no connection, right? Since the connection is dropped, it changed from live and went back to BRB. Like, I didn't force it to change back into BRB. It just worked for a second. Let me move that here. Okay, yeah, you see it changed automatically. So yeah, let me go ahead and reset the shut down the VM, give it some more RAM and some more cores, and hopefully, that will do the trick. All right, I kind of gave my VM, the Ubuntu server, a little bit more gigs of RAM, and now it seems to be working just dandy. We have the NOALBS script running, and I'm gonna click off of NOALBS click off of OBS and have NOALBS terminal in front of OBS, and I'm going to stop the stream. So it'll show you guys that I'm not having OBS clicked on, and it'll switch scenes automatically. So I'm going to hit stop on my phone, and now it's going to go into a BRB mode. There it is. Boom. Done. And that is fairly it for setting up this entire script. When you do have it running, when you want to start up your stream remotely, you want to go to Twitch chat and type !start, !stop. When it says admin roles, whatever user that you have listed under in the config.json, you set it them as admins. And if there were like a normal mod and you don't have their name in the config, then they can, and they're just a normal mod without having their name in the config.json, then they are able to run these commands. So !start to start it, stop to stop the stream. You can record it on OBS. So for whatever reasons, if it fucks up, then it'll still record it as a VOD, and you can go back and make highlight edits, whatever. If you type in !live, it'll change the scene to live, or you can type in !SS or !switch, and it'll then you got to type in the scene name, then it'll switch to that. Let's see what else. !trigger, so you can change the bit rate to, like, if your bit rate from your phone hits below 800, then it'll go into the low bit rate scene, and so on and so forth. So just keep it at 800 default, and if your OBS scene messes up, you and or a mod can go ahead and type !refresh to refresh it, which I forgot. Create a new scene and type in refresh, and just have it say refresh in the scene. Totally forgot about that. The only public command there is !bitrate, and you can just type !public off, so people don't need to know your bitrate, which is not really much of a big deal. You can turn off mod commands, so only you or the admins that you assigned under the config.json will be able to execute the mod commands. Let's see. Next thing, what we need to do is set up our NOALBS and our SLS server to run automatically every time you boot up your Ubuntu server, so that you don't have to open up multiple terminals and type it in manually, because if you were to exit out of this terminal, then it'll be no longer running. So you want to have that run in the background, and I'll go ahead and show you how to set that up now. All right, now that we want to set up our NOALBS and our SLS, I created additional stuff here for you guys, and it'll be in a separate link in the description. What we need to do is create a file called NOALBS.sh. So we're creating a batch file. So you're going to copy this section, and what it does, so since it's going to be in the root directory, then following the NOALBS folder, so then there's NOALBS. So what we want to do is type in pico, then call it NOALBS.sh, right click, hit Control O, then hit enter, and hit Control X to exit. And what we need to do is next create the SLS.sh batch. So let's go ahead and do that. Then type in pico SLS.sh, paste that in. Then as you can see, it's just running these commands. So it's going into the root slash SRT-Live, then /bin, where the executable is at. Then to execute the, then it's going to save that. So let me go ahead and make make some modifications real quick and hit Control O to save, then Control X. And we need to give it permissions. So what you want to do is type in chmod plus x space, then NOALBS.sh, cmod, chmod. Hello? Oh, because that NOALBS. Make sure that you check your spelling, and we're gonna give SLS permissions. So I'm gonna copy these commands. So we give it permissions. Now, here are two links for references if you need examples. We're going to go in towards our startup folder. And if we type in ls, these are the things that are running every time you reboot your computer. So we need to create a file called noalbs.service. Then type in pico, noalbs.service. And I already created the block, the files that you need, or the text that you need to put in the file. Then paste that in, Control O, Control X. Then same thing with .sls.service, pico, SLS. Then copy in this, right click, and Control O, Control X. So this will reload everything that you made modifications in this directory. Oh, oh no. Now let's try it. All right. Then we want to make sure that we can start it. So now all NOALBS is now running, and it didn't give us an error. So if it did give us an error, or we can always check the status on things. And so noalbs.service, and it's running. That's fine. It's running. It'll give us a little printout. So Control Z. Then we want to run the next command, SLS, and it didn't give us a problem. Again, you can check the status, SLS, and it gave us the first couple lines, but it did not give us any problems. So every time you reboot your computer, these two commands need to enable the NOALBS. So every time you reboot it, it'll start it up. And that's it. So every time that you reboot your Ubuntu SRT-SLS server, now everything will be running. It'll be on the fly, and all you gotta do is start up your stream and ready to go. I think that's it. Yeah, I think we're good. I know that this video is quite lengthy and it's a bit of a process, so I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'll put links in the description, the commands, the files, everything that you saw on this video will be there. I might throw a little bit extra stuff if I come across something, but that's it. For the love of God, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and follow me on twitch.tv/𝗵𝗁𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄𝗄 efficiently. And even though that this is a pain in the ass to do for some of you, or maybe, you know, a good lump of you, I shouldn't say all, but yeah, that's it. I hope you guys take care. Thank you for being here. Bye.
Thank you for sticking around. Please feel free to watch my other videos. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow my social media. If you're feeling generous, check out my Patreon or send in a donation of any amount with PayPal. It really helps out with post-production, equipment, food in my belly, and also continue making free content for you guys. Links in the description. Y'all take care, and thank you once again.